Mrs. Klingman.
Mr. Martinez.
How you
How
doing,
are you
Jamie?
today?
Good.
Been there, done that
Yeah,
without
been there,
coffee?
done that, man. Been there, done that. But one thing I want to talk to you today is something that we have already dealt with too many times, but I like to call it Captain Crazy.
Oh,
And what I mean by that is how many business owners out there, and I will include myself with my previous business, um, of getting to a point of success where you're cooking, like you got consistency of your top line, even your bottom line. You think you're going to continue to do better, but to do better, and that's what I mean by capped, is that you're going to have to really reinvest in resources, human resources, marketing resources, operational resources, whatever, to get to that next level. So you're kind of capped. But the crazy part is, I know this was attributed to Einstein. I don't know if he actually said this or not, but that he said the definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over and expect a different result,
it's one of my favorite lines, honestly.
right?
Yeah,
But how many businesses have we spoken to, good businesses, who are captain crazy?
a lot of them. Yeah. And I may have even run one of them probably, but there, yes, like that's a thing. There is a limit. There's a upper limit of how much time, talent, treasure, you name it, you can invest in. And if you keep doing that and the results don't change, it's probably time to try something else.
Exactly. And so just had this conversation with somebody who shall remain unnamed because this happens so often, but great business, killer relationships, turning down business, uh, told us that can't do this anymore, can't work this many hours anymore, want to spend more time with family, turning down good business, recurring revenue business even, and really needed help with somebody operational. And then, of course, we discuss we might have somebody for you that is the perfect fit who can take this to the next level. And you could probably make, business owner, more money by not being in the day-to-day operations and focusing on the relationship building, the sales, and actually doing the contracting work, and let somebody else who has the business acumen to put in the systems, the operational systems, and blah, 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 to really get this thing going to where could have made more money
Yep.
with less work, except that in that seller's mind, he couldn't get past the fact that, but I'm only going to get X.
Right.
And if I just hold on longer, I can double the value. But you're crazy if you don't change something.
Well, and that's such a challenge. We've talked to many people. I had a conversation this week actually with someone who I had this conversation last year about, where are they at? What can they reasonably do? Because we all know I can have ideals, right? Like ideally I'd be doing all sorts of things, but
Sure.
that's not realistic. Ideal and realistic are not always the same. And they were now a year later in a worse position because they didn't fundamentally change anything they were doing. They changed around a few tasks and those kinds of things, but usually there just is a limit. There's a limit of how much focus, of how much time, of how much money you're going to invest. And without a really clear strategic plan and the ability to follow through with that plan. And that's a big because I think there's a lot of people paying for strategic plans and they sit in people's desks, they're in drawers, on the cabinet or on the bookshelf, and they're not really implementable. And without that, there's nothing really changes and the world moves on. And now you're a time period later. And oftentimes in a worse position than you were when you started the conversation. When you first recognize something needs to change, that's the time to make something change, whether it's exiting, whether it's adopting a operations person or a logistics person or a marketing person or whoever, whatever it is that needs to happen. Those are absolutely, that's the time to do something, because otherwise you are on, I liken it to a merry-go-round, right? Like you're just on the same,
Yeah, you're on the crazy train.
ride. Yeah, going around and around and around because you think that you're, because you got on a different horse on the merry-go-round, that you're gonna go somewhere different. And you wind up in the same spot. It's a different looking horse, it's different color. Are they called horses? Are they called something else?
Whatever.
Oh, yeah. So
Probably
it's a
something
different
creepy.
colors. Yeah. different position on the merry-go-round, but at the end of the day, the merry-go-round stops and you're in the same place. And that's a really unfortunate truth for a lot of people.
No, and I think I think we all suffer from that, entrepreneurs, especially if you've had this business for a certain amount of time, because you can make money. You are making money. It's not to say you're not successful. I mean, unless like what you just mentioned, your example, that all of a sudden now you're not just capped, you're in a decline because of market conditions, family conditions. Who knows what
Well, the
could
world changed,
happen?
right? The world's
Oh,
changed and the
absolutely.
world's going to change again. And if you aren't adapting,
But
assuming what has always worked will continue to work is also should be a definition of insanity, I feel like.
yeah, no, and that's a total cognitive dissonance there. That is just like, we will get into continuing to do those things just to make the money for this year. So unless we have a mindset of like, no, we either go all in and make those capital expenditures and like really like make this thing cook and really change something, you really are better off sell while you have that consistency, though your P&L is looking good, where your financials are looking good. And that doesn't mean that you're out of that business. You can still remain in the business, do an earn out, become a consultant. I mean, more than likely, you're going to have to stay in it anyways. And so it's a good time to cash out and potentially make more on an annual basis, or even the same without the headaches. And
Right.
so I think that's the biggest message, is just like there's options. Don't be so focused on just that one lump sum number. Get focused on the long-term viability of your income. And also, what's most important? Do you still want to continue to do the same thing and expect a different result?
Absolutely.
So anyway, that's my Captain Crazy
There you go. I like it.
soapbox.
Captain Crazy. All the way back from Einstein.
Thank you, Einstein.
Yeah.
Some attribute to, theory of relativity. I think that was his best
And
work right there.
business. I like this. Yes, this is a good combination.
Yeah, man.
All right.
Don't be Captain Crazy.